Perfect. So that's the best segue into the next fight. It's one that I'm actually really excited about. We got the Caramel Thunder here, Miguel Baeza. He's fighting, Takashi Sato here. This is what I'm very excited about. The Caramel Thunder, he comes in undefeated, pristine record, 9-0-0. He won on the Contender Series. He's 2-0 since he came in the UFC. But there's just a lot of hype around this prospect, There's just a lot of hype around this man. I don't know if I'm necessarily sold on it. From what I've seen from Takashi, this guy's the real deal, man. He sports that 16-3-0 record. He has a couple of big wins in the UFC. Ben Saunders and Jason Witt. I know Jason Witt we've seen recently, so familiar with him. Seems like he's faced better competition. He does have a little bit of a size disadvantage, but I'm really pumped to see what Takashi can do in this one.
Listen, I got to really big my boy up here. Okay, so we're never gonna change the title of the show because it's just so good. Because it really is, like, in terms of a catch-up thing, he's always going to be that step below. So it's okay. And he's really this is phenomenal. The pace that he's learning, I'm just blown away. I love him for it. And this is the first week this man has not seen my notes at all. He usually gets to even see my lines. He gets to see my notes. Beside this fight, I currently have written potentially best fight on the card. So,
couldn't agree more.
Let me just give you my round of applause.
Respect, brother.
For the man, the myth, the legend, Parisian, quote unquote, the casual. Wow. So, need I say more? For real. The thing I like about Baeza, like we said, 2-0 fight, 1-0 on Dana White's Contender Series. I mean, dime a dozen now or what, guys? These kinds of guys that we're seeing get their little foot through the door. Dana White's doing a wonderful thing for the sport. I think even as a youngin', I might have, not enjoyed so much the Chuck Liddell version of Dana White that was around for that 5-10 year mark. But, this guy's keeping a business alive and giving people a living. You can't really argue with this.
Thriving, yeah, thriving.
It's phenomenal. So going back to that, Mike Brown's a tough fight in your first bout. And honestly, we took that fight. We had confidence in Baeza. And it was called to an absolute T. He kept his distance. He had the good strikes and the power when he could land. He landed, and it was absolutely devastating type of shots. It's the type of fighter he is. And similarly, as you said, Sato brings a similar type of fight to the table. The knockout of Jason Witt was very impressive. Now, going back to Jason Witt's last fight, we call that to a T. Unfortunately, there's certain fights where, especially now, last minute fights or fights that maybe some of you guys wouldn't get a chance normally before COVID, all that kind of stuff. But Sato's proving really that he belongs, and that's where right now, based on what you said, you're probably pumped a little bit more for Sato. But I'm curious about the striking skill and that sneaky power of Baeza. Like, he scares me as just like that old school style. It really. The Sato record, though, I mean, even looking at some of the finishes that he does, it makes you want to go back and watch every single fight he's ever been in. You know what I mean? Like, everything is it looks like everything was going to be absolutely devastating. So I think it's going to be a tough fight size-wise for both guys. I mean, I think Baeza's going to have a nice size match, but Sato's got that striking, accuracy that we've seen. So tough to call, man. It's going to be really tough to see both these guys to avoid power punches and land themselves,
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a barn burner for sure. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And, I've been doing a little monitoring of the line as well and stuff, so I do want to kind of dive right into that. And, I'm going to pose this in a question of, where do you see the opening Vegas line for this to be?
Ooh, interesting question. That's a very interesting question. Oof. So are you asking me indirectly already who the favorite is, and you're going to ask me for two lines right now off the top of my head?
Yes, exactly.
So it's funny enough. The line that I have currently is pretty close, but not that close. So I have to go with, based on how you asked me. Oof. Let's say Saito as a favorite, as an opening line. I mean, that's not the line I have. I'm just saying that's my guess based on you asking me this question.
Okay, so I've been monitoring this line, pretty intensely. It's kind of what I do here. But, this line opened at Baeza at a -200 favorite.
Wow.
Okay.
My current call, just to let you know, so maybe we don't go so hard into the game for this one. My current call was Baeza minus 180. That's why, just based on your tone and everything, I thought, let me just throw out this Sato number plus 140 is what I have.
You're right on the money. You're right on the money. When I looked at this fight again yesterday, the line had moved to minus 180 Baeza, just like you had mentioned.
Wow, okay.
And if you go look at it right now, Baeza's minus 160. So it's dropped 40 basis points in the last, say, 36 hours.
Yeah, so, I mean, Pies, I mean, even if, like, I would say, if this is how serious you're getting about it, watch that tape, man. The way I saw Sato, it was like he's pinpoint accurate, but he needs those chances, right? Like, to be able to land. Jason Witt would be considered fairly flat-footed, I'd say, compared to Baeza, you know? I think there's going to be a bit more head movement. I think there's going to be a bit more, you know, distance striking. The ability to kind of defend, from a stand-up perspective, what Sato brings to the table. I'm very surprised by Sato starting to get that bump, but
yeah, that line is dropping heavily.
In your opinion, I mean, based on everything you know now, you know, if you're saying that's probably one of the fights you've covered the most, where do you go with that? Based on my opinion, the line movement, the current line, what are you thinking there?
I think I do want to kind of see the weigh-ins and stuff like that. At initial drop, had I been able to catch, you know, Sato at a plus 180, that would have been very, very enticing. You know what I mean? And as I don't believe that these guys are mismatched that much. At now a plus 130, I'm kind of, I want to take a look at it a little bit more, as I do believe we've lost 50 points in value there.
And the most exciting part for us is, you know, we're starting to put a little bit more time into the MMA stuff. So, you know, if we can start pumping out our content fairly quickly, you know, it'd be a great time for me and Pies to check out. That was a great first fight for how much excitement he has for it. So if you look at some of that, you know, previous fight experience, because some of those, you know, fights are really fun to watch. And I think you might be able to get some tape under your belt because, you know, when you compare the Mike Brown fight versus the Jason Witt fight, I think that's you can see where the lopsidedness is kind of coming from. But at the same time, look at the record. Look at the fashion that Sato brings, you know, his striking to the table. We can see where, you know, people can start flip-flopping, and this could be one of those exciting lines moving into Saturday, you know. We love those. Yeah,
absolutely. So, you know, stay tuned for that one. But, you know, that drastic line movement has definitely inclined us to lean a certain way. So we'll lock that in a little closer. As usual, hit that bell button below, subscribe.
Ring.
All our information is in there. We got playlists for you to click on, some of our prior content. Instagram, Twitter, it's all on there. Our pics will be up there. Always, it's a pleasure, my man.
You too, guys. And then, frankly, Pi said it best. You search a fighter. There's some guys we've already covered a few times, so feel free to check them out. Subscribe, like. Pies, I love you, bro. Can't wait to get into the next card.